Good morning, my name is Michael and this is Martin, and on behalf of our team, we would like to share a story with you. Today, I would like to talk about growth and the obstacles that come with it. Growth is an ambition of every organization. It's what every business strives for. But as your business scales up, naturally, the complexity increases. Operational clarity becomes harder to maintain, and the processes and methods that once work well starts to fall short in dynamic environments. As a result, many growing companies start to face new set of challenges. Let's take a look. Firstly, the number of projects increases. Naturally, it's harder to keep track of them. Secondly, manual process invoicing leads to delays, and it's harder to identify which payments are overdue. And finally, the decision-making is less effective as data is scattered across multiple systems and there's no centralized view. This all ultimately leads and have negative impact on cash flow and its opportunity costs, which leads to reduced valuation and ultimately dissatisfaction of investors. And today's story also applies to Behavior Labs. Behavior Labs is a successful company built by founders with clear vision and deep expertise. Unfortunately, they also find themselves in the phase of rapid growth and struggle to strike the right balance between momentum and control.
And this is where our chapter in this story begins. How do you solve this problem? How do you prevent a company from becoming a victim of its own success? How do you prevent difficulties that arises naturally when you have a company which is successful, doing well, but it's growing faster than it can currently sustain? The question is, how do you scale up sustainably? You can always have a easy available solution to you, maybe hiring more people or something else. But the question you always need to ask is this the best solution? Is this the most effective? Is this the most sustainable? Because what you do today matters a lot tomorrow. And for the past 3 months, we've been hard at work with our friends at Behavio, trying to take a crack at this problem. And what we came up to it is that at the end of the day, the best thing you can give anyone, especially a founder at a startup, is a peace of mind, clarity. How do you do this? Well, our solution is to automate the classical data warehouse system through new components. The idea is to rebuild the data that you already have into views which can be easily consumed with time awareness and delivered through an efficient system in such a way that the right information is available to the right people at the right time. On top of all of this, we build a chatbot or a natural language querying system, if you will, which can take a natural language prompt and turn it into SQL on the fly without any prior knowledge required from the user. So any business user can take any burning question and turn it into insight essentially immediately. All of this can be promising, but the question is, why should I implement this? What is the value? What is actually impact? What impact this creates within the company? Well, for starters, we are very confident this is possibly the cheapest solution we can find out there. We are very confident in this statement, but furthermore, we are also very confident in the fact that this can save a lot of time, from man days to essentially hours or minutes per month. But perhaps most importantly of all, we turn chaos, we turn hidden counterfactual perspectives within your company and replace them with auditable and transparent status so we can always know which decision has been made with which data. And that has been our journey for the past 3 months. The last question is, what's next? In this month, we've done a lot of testing, a lot of evaluating, and the next step is rolling out to production, getting these systems into real world and scaling them up to other companies, other problems, other data, so it can deliver the most value to most people out there. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any burning questions or if you think we can help you, feel free to reach out, feel free to ask. We will do our best. Thank you very much.
So thank you for your presentation. You are probably owners of rapidly growing company, CEOs, top executives.
So my question is, if you can only apply this in the company in the early beginning, or already if the company is like a few months in use, they have their own data, they're scattered. So are you fit for both? At what cost or risk?
Yes, we are fit for both. From like the software engineering perspective, we did our best to make the system as loosely coupled as it can be. So it can be scaled down, it can be scaled up at pretty much any point. There is no prerequisite for this to be on the zelená louka, as we say in Czech Republic. This can be applied to a company of essentially any size, but our initial focus were startups.
So can you say what is your like main advantage of your system? So it knows my data.
So the way how the data is built, or how it's consumed by the system, is that we take your data warehouse or your consolidated data set, and we build essentially metadata schema on top of it, and that's served as a context for the chatbot and for the alerting functions. So essentially, within the components itself, there is a sort of subset replica which knows the metadata and the semantic representation of the data which it should work with.
Mhm. And you are based on subscription model, so it's pay as you go.
No. So the running costs we presented, the system is built in cloud, so those are the running fees that you can expect running this on a, let's say, mid-sized startup, based on the current stock keeping units of GCP, Google Cloud Platform.
How long it takes to implement this on small company size data warehouse?
That is a tricky question. I would say, depending on the amount of data preparation that needs to be done, depending on the data quality underneath it, this can go from anywhere from a week to about a month tops, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
On the, I think, not last slide, but that doesn't matter. That was that you will start using it on in June. So the tool is not already running, right?
It's running, but it's not running it's running in what's called the pre-prod system. The company, we are currently handing over the documentation for implementation, but we've been given a green light for the implementation, and the expected time frame for production deployment is next month.
Okay, so behind that is just only testing now.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
That you already just tested it, but you didn't try like what if there can be some errors or something like that.
Oh, yeah, we did user acceptance testings with the users, with the company. We had some issues initially, I will admit, but we polished them out. Currently, the code we are handing over, I think, is very, very solid, very, very robust, and it was tested with real users within the company.
Also, if I wouldn't have like any data basis behind me, my question would be, because we saw similar output like 2 teams ago, that it was about analytic chatbot. What is like your big differences from them?
That is a difficult question to answer without knowing like the details of their solution, but what we spent a lot of time doing, we were in touch with a GCP consultant in Czech Republic, and we tested our solution. So sorry, let me rephrase. The architecture that we designed around the solution should be fully conformal to best practices for cloud. So that's one of the source of the cost savings, because we spent a lot of time making sure that the solution works well and that it works well within cloud environments, which guarantees the cost effectiveness of the solution.
I've got a question about the. Let's assume that we have enormous data warehouse that we are working data marts. So let's assume are we able to switch between specific data marts that I can reduce my man days for needed for analysts even further? Is that possible?
Yes. So all you would need to do in our solution is just to essentially rerun the script which builds the context for you, and then everything is switched on the fly. There's no like redeployment needed. You can do the configuration files and the context, the metadata, is separate from the actual application code, so it can be rebuilt essentially instantly without like deployment delays and other problems.
Cool. Thanks.
So I have my last question, and it is, when you go into the implementation phase with a company, do you also provide some service to help the company manage that, and how would that work?
Yeah, yes, we are. I think we built a good relationship with the company that we are doing this project for, and we fully intend to support them during the implementation phase. So it's as smooth as can be.
After implementation, do we need some new role for managing your system, or is it running smoothly?
The design is essentially fire and forget. There is very little maintenance involved in day-to-day. The only thing which would be like a potentially big problem would be like completely restructuring your database. So, but that's problem
will you
for,
give regular updates?
sorry?
Will you give our regular updates of your system?
So the idea is that there should be like very little patches needed. But for instance, if you needed to replace, say, the model running the LLM, it should work out to about two lines of code of change. It's very simple. It's very like architecturally simple. And my major engineer for this has to.
Okay, I would also like to add upon that. We are continually logging every activity, and we can see, for example, all the inputs and the possible errors, so we can easily and quickly patch anything that could happen and our communication to be as smooth as possible.
And one more question. How much does it cost us? So implementation, running, and then when we scale, what can we expect?
I will answer this maybe in a little bit backwards manner. The cost that you saw, the running cost of 25 USD per month, that should pretty much be constant no matter how much you grow, because this works out nicely for most Czech companies because of how the free tiering in GCP works. As for the implementation, that is a bit tricky question, but the current calculation that we did works out to about the break-even point should be in 4 months, so to speak. Let me rephrase that. The implementation cost is the most costly part of the solution. The upfront cost, if we did it in 5 people, would work out to about 150K in Czech crowns. And the break-even point depends on how much like utility you get out of the solution.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.